What's going on, creators? You just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'm going to talk a little bit about blessing your body and how you can start to do that in the here and now. So you start to make a shift from unconsciously cursing yourself all the time to start to physically recover, start to get your body in a more desirable shape, and that's you who determines what that looks like and what that is, and ultimately improving your concept of self at the same time. And so part of the problems that we can find ourselves in is in the mental narratives of hopelessness, putting shit on pedestals, being envious and jealous of other people. All these kinds of negative attributes start in the mind, and a lot of times it starts unconsciously by just the scripts and the stories that we tell ourselves about our form, about our body. That could be, oh, I'm so ugly, oh, I'm so fat, oh, I'm so out of shape, oh, I'm so crippled, I'm so this, I'm so that. What are you saying I am to about your body really reveals a lot about your unconscious beliefs, more than anything else. And when you're ignorant of manifestation and the law of assumption and kind of the quantum reality of things, it's easy to think that those thoughts and beliefs have no bearing on anything other than, oh, it's just shit going on in my brain. But the more that you're able to start to shift your beliefs and your assumptions, you start to see how reality itself starts to mirror those changes, and those beliefs start to become mirrored back to you as you change them. And so it's always like, oh, I'm always right, I'm always right, I'm always right. Well, the thing of it is, if you change your beliefs and your assumptions to alignment with who you are in Christ, you'll start to see that reflecting out just as much. And so it's important to catch the times that we're cursing ourselves throughout the day, whether that's all aspects of your life, not just your body, but your finances, your relationships. Catching all of these things that are just unconsciously poisoning the reflection is important moving forward, and it's something you can tangibly start doing now because you are already doing it now. Either you're telling yourself curses or you're telling yourself blessings, and that's basically that simple. There's no middle ground. There's an illusion of the world that there's this neutral that you can just walk this lukewarm kind of spell on yourself, where it's like, oh, I'm not really doing it to that extreme, so I'm not really doing it. But if you're subtly giving yourself subtle curses, subtle time frames of decay, subtle whatever, you're still kind of running a deficit. You know, if you look at everything as either being a surplus or a deficit, your health and well-being being part of that equation, and most importantly, the seeds that you plant in consciousness, then you can start to really catch what's going on. I did a past stream about using this kind of this mirror reflection. I don't know how to really describe it. The link will be in the description for people that are curious about it. But it's very helpful to look at everything that's manifested in your body, whether that's all the undesirable things or the desirable, and realize it's all a reflection of your past beliefs and assumptions. And the moment that you do that, it really helps to let go of a lot of the non-acceptance of what is in the present moment, which is always a form of resistance. And as you battle and fight against resistance, a lot of times you can strengthen the actual manifestation that you unconsciously don't even want to be there in the first place. A good example of that is maybe with weight loss goals. It's like if you put like, oh, if I hit this number, I'm really putting it on a pedestal. It's going to be difficult and hard. Well, then all of a sudden for you, that's what you experience. That's what you believe to be true. And this is shit you can try out for yourself. And ultimately, you are already trying this out for yourself, but in a way that you don't really comprehend that you're doing it. It's weird because it's like, and it's not until you start to become more mindful of what you're doing that you can go, hey, wait, why am I just spending the eternity, in thought of the undesirable? Oh, it feels normal and natural because it's a habit. But instead of just unconsciously having a worst case scenario in my mind and a belief in my body, I'm going to let that shit go. I'm going to start being a little bit more careful of what I'm telling myself. It's like, maybe you have some sort of a disease that's manifested in your body. And I'm not telling you, oh, stop doing what you're doing as far as like going to doctors, going to healers, going to... I think everything that is happening is a result of your consciousness. And so where you're at is perfectly okay. But with, moving forward, it's just in what you're telling yourself right here, right now. Are you making an identity around being diseased? Because it's not who you are. Do you feel attacked if someone says that you're fat? Well, that's part of, like, you made that part of your identity, which is not part of who you are. Part of who you are is not even the body, but in the consciousness. And in that realization comes more and more of, like, okay, well, I'm not this belief, I'm not this thought about myself. You could say just as easily that, oh, I am on a healing process. Oh, I am doing better each day. Oh, I am getting stronger and stronger. I am going to be the miracle case. I'm going to be the first one that heals from this. All of these things are stuff you can start telling yourself right here, right now, and expect more and more of that to manifest tomorrow as you believe more and more of the reality of that happening. With fitness and like weight loss, for example, it's kind of easy to do that if you are kind of running a deficit and not really focusing on the end result, but just on how you're doing today. I know, like, for me, I lost like close to 30 pounds going into this hip replacement surgery. That's like, what, three weeks ago now. I don't know what I weigh now because I haven't weighed myself since the surgery, but a big part of changing the story, the mental story of, like, oh, I'm starving, I'm so fucking hungry, it's like, I'm a victim, boo-hoo, oh, my body's craving something, so I need to stop what I'm doing to you are in control of your body. Your body does not control you. And with that, you can start to tell it what to do. And it's only through habit that we feel like it's got a mind of its own and it doesn't obey. It's through repetition that you realize that that's not true. And with that, you can start to tell yourself a different story when you're feeling that sensation of, like, hunger, for example. For me, the way I understand things, it's all about deficit and surplus. So it's like your weight mainly is a reflection of mind, but with that, how much of the day were you telling yourself, like, oh, this is going to make me so fat if I eat this double portion, or, oh, this is so unhealthy, oh, this is just going to make me have a heart attack, or whatever you're telling yourself about the food that you're putting in your mouth. Were you cursing it every step of the way? Were you cursing it every chew that you did? Would you feel guilty and shameful that, you ate something sweet and now all of a sudden, now you're worried about how it's going to tack on the pounds? Well, all those things are unconscious curses that you're cursing on yourself, which will manifest then tomorrow, in my belief system at least. Doesn't mean that that's absolutely, true for everybody. I think your faith plays a gigantic role in it. But, I think even more importantly is the mental stories that you're saying in prayer, which is another way of just this inner conversation, because God's within you and hears everything that you're saying in your mind and rewards it, whether that's consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't matter. But you can start making those shifts, because you can't also lie to yourself either. That's something I learned through gaining all this weight, because I was putting a theory to the test of, like, oh, I can just change the story I'm telling myself and eat like double fucking Big Macs and do whatever and it won't, that was my, whoop, shit, and that was my thought, and it wasn't, it didn't play out, but like what I did learn from that is that you can't lie to yourself. So if you believe that it's not good for you, just changing the story, you're not fooling yourself here. But when you start to actually make the change and you're just like, okay, well, I'm eating more of this and I have this positive story about it, that because I believe that this is healthy for me. When you start making more conscious decisions of, like, oh, this is fueling me, this is strengthening me, this is healing me, this is helping me, this is blessing. Look at everything as a blessing or a curse. It makes it really easy to catch it in your own mind when you start telling yourself shit that's not true and things that are ultimately a curse, because you'll start to catch it more and more. So of, like, hey, wait a second, that was just, why did that just come into my mind? Why, I can think the total opposite. Both of them are just as valid, so I'm going to choose the blessing instead. And as you do that, as you expect to see the results tomorrow, you're able to navigate the here and now, looking at everything as being a past belief and a past assumption that has now manifested in your body. And with that, it makes it easier not to be so reactive. It makes it easier to have hope for tomorrow, because as soon as you kind of start dropping this ideal of like, oh, once I hit this milestone, then I'll be so happy. Once you start to become happy in the process, you're able to incorporate that more and more so in the here and now of just the mental story that you're telling yourself about yourself. It's that simple. It's all about, are you cursing yourself right now unconsciously, and then experiencing a manifestation that's undesirable, and then battling and resisting it, like, oh my God, this athlete's foot's back, oh, my pain in my shoulder's back, oh, my back is starting to hurt, oh, I have a tickle in my throat, am I going to die, I got this weird sensation in my fingertips, am I going to become like whatever, it's like, all of these fears, all these worries, all of these thoughts of, oh, I'm just getting older, I'm decaying, I'm fucking turning to shit, and cursing. It's like, the more you're able to catch it, though, the more you're actively like, wait, why am I just allowing that? Most of it's unconscious. Like, that's just what you believe, when you have that thought, and it's like, oh, where'd that come? And then you want to blame, like, maybe some satanic thing for, like, putting some spell on you or whatever. But it's like, looking at it differently is like almost like a blessing that you're able to see what's in your consciousness is holding you at a particular level. Then you can choose, hey, this might feel weird or different, maybe scary, you might feel fear in actually moving from like poor health to health, because you made such an identity around it that it feels like a death. But it's only ever now. So it's like, now is when you choose to stop cursing yourself. Now is when you start to actively, consciously start taking control of your body, where it's like, okay, well, today I might not be able to run 5 miles or do 100 push-ups, but I can do 3 of them. Whatever's doable to you, that's like I can at least do 3 push-ups. You start that, because through the doing, through the action, you'll start to renew your mind, and you'll start to feel those curses that you've been telling yourself unconsciously start to come to your surface of your consciousness. Like, oh, I'm so weak, I'm so fat, I'm so whatever, I'm so frail, I'm so feeble, I'm so stiff. Whatever you're telling yourself, as you start to perform the actual action of doing what that you need to do. I mean, no one needs to tell you what to do. You know what to do. God's already been whispering it into your consciousness. You just haven't taken the action yet. Well, now's when you take the action. And if it's like, I need to sit and fucking do some push-ups right now, stop the video, go do 3 push-ups. You can do this. The block is trying to keep you safe in this state that you don't even like anyway. So you push through that. And as you start pushing through it, you'll get those things in your mind of these curses that you've already been telling yourself, which you already kind of believe. But through the doing, you'll stop believing those things. You'll stop believing you're weak, because you are sitting there doing the opposite. And that's a big part of like improving your body is in taking those actions when you are like feeling the inner urging to do them. And with that, check those mental stories, because those are the things that are actually the root problem. The manifestation is secondary to that initial cause, and the more that you realize it's all a delay from yesterday, well, that can start to then, okay, well, I'm not going to battle and resist having it instantly be healed today, right now. And I feel like the more that you're able to let go of shit, that you're not in such resistance and putting it on a pedestal, it will naturally manifest faster and faster, probably almost instantaneous. But it's one of those weird, I don't know what's going on with my power. It's like flickering, but like, yeah, it's one of those weird things where it's just like, it's counterintuitive, where it's just like, when you stop actually caring about it, then it just happens so much faster. It's just part of creation, I guess. But, that's something I found to be a true statement, at least. But, I just want to, I don't know how long this, like, power is going to last. I don't know why it's flickering or whatever. So I think I'm going to probably bounce. So I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social networking things. I appreciate your spiritual support and your physical support. Thank you for that. Links in the description if you feel like supporting. And with that being said, I think I'm going to bounce. So have a good rest of your now, everybody. And God bless.